Hi, my name is Emily and I lead user experience research at Peapod Digital Labs. And I'm going to talk to you today about addition by subtraction. But I'm really going to start with a story about the history of the company that I work for. So at Peapod Digital Labs, we design and build the e-com experiences for the grocery brands of Ahold Delhaize. East Coasters may recognize some of these brands like Stop & Shop, Giant, Martin's, and Giant Food. But PDL really grew out of one of the earliest grocery delivery services in the US, Peapod. And Peapod was founded in 1989, and it launched its first website that you could order groceries from in 1996. Much of the e-com experiences of our brand today were built upon the foundation of Peapod, so the technology and the customer-facing experience. I'm sure many of you work for similarly storied products where you can see and feel the history in your products today for better or for worse. For the past 2 or 3 years, we've really been on a native app journey. So that means taking our apps that were basically web containers and making them fully native. And this gave us the opportunity to really design from scratch. And what that means was through generative research, analytics, and a lot of testing, we had to make some tough choices about what experiences and features we were going to bring from the web experience into the new app. When we launched our first app, we did a diary study in tandem. So we invited customers who were used to the desktop and app experience today and had them capture moments over the course of the first 30 days of using the new app. And what we found was really interesting. It was surprising that a lot of the customers seemed to be discovering new features that had always existed in our old experience. And so what I'm going to show you here is one of those things. So what you're looking at on the slide is our old search results page. So this is the desktop experience that exists today, and then our app experience. What I have highlighted are a set of quick filters, and there are 5 of them. In the new app, we cut that down to 2, the 2 most used ones, past purchases and on sale. And what we heard over and over again from customers who had used the desktop experience for many, many years, is that they seemed to discover these new quick filters for the first time and use them quite often over the course of those first 30 days. And this was really a light bulb moment for me. It made me realize that we can add user value by simply taking away a few things and simplifying the experience. And so that really set me on a path. It made me think about, okay, what are the features that are bogging down our experience and preventing users from finding and using the things that are really going to make an impact on their experience? And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Addition by subtraction. And this is the idea that you can add value by simply taking away. And I'm also going to make the case for why UXR can and should be involved in this work. So by the end of the talk, I hope you come away with 2 things. First of all, I hope you feel compelled and excited to dig into your own products, to really understand what features are that maybe have outlived their usefulness. And second, I hope you walk away with a playbook of sorts of how to get this started in your own organization. So before we get into all that, I want to take a step back and talk about, well, what does it even mean to kill features? What are we talking about here? So today we're going to talk about killing and cutting features that exist in your products today, that exist in production. But of course, we all know that the best time to kill features is before they already exist. But that's a conversation for another day. When we talk about features that exist in production, this can be a whole spectrum, from really, really big to really, really small. You can cut entire products and services all the way down to removing a few options, like the example I gave about reducing the number of quick filters. If you need examples of very successful and profitable companies that regularly cut features and services, visit killedbygoogle.com and you can find a list of literally hundreds of features that the company has killed over the years. So this big spectrum of the types of features you can kill, maybe you're thinking, well, why? Why would I even kill features? And so now I'm going to talk about the benefits to the user experience and the benefits to the business that come from killing features. So first of all, let's talk about the benefits to the user experience. First of all, when you take things away, you can just visually declutter. So when there's less on the page, your customer or your user has more opportunity to find and discover what's most important and what's going to have the biggest impact on their experience. Secondly, when you have less to organize, it can help with information architecture. You cut down, it's easier to organize what's left. Thirdly, when you have less functionality, there is less that can go wrong, which means fewer things breaking and fewer bugs. And then lastly, reducing functionality can improve the performance and the speed of your site or app. and I'm sure we all deeply feel this in our bones as researchers, how much site speed and performance can impact the user experience. So obviously when we improve the user experience, that's going to have a good benefit to our business, but there are also more concrete ways that removing features can benefit the business. When we have a lot of functionality, we have very complex systems. And when we have complex systems, that means more tests we need to write and run. That means more things that can break, more bugs. That means more things we have to figure out how it affects other things. When we can reduce functionality, when we can make a system less complex, that can reduce the maintenance time or time spent by developers just keeping the lights on. It makes it easier to figure out what went wrong when something does go wrong. Less time spent QAing, less time hunting down edge cases. And all of this can just mean less operational costs for our business. So let me talk through an example of how killing a feature in my own experience can benefit it or will benefit the user and the business. What I'm showing you here is a countdown timer. So in grocery delivery or pickup, we have time slots. And this is a feature where for the last 15 minutes before the time slot expired, or before you need to kind of make your last edit before order cutoff happens, this red bar came across the top of the screen that counted down by the second for 15 full minutes. And to be honest, I had forgotten this feature existed until I was observing a contextual inquiry session that one of my researchers was running. This was an existing customer who had been shopping in our stores for many years and was placing a delivery order for the first time. This countdown timer popped up, and in addition to being quite stressful for her and frankly stressful for us, it was interfering with other elements on the page. So sometimes the search bar was hiding behind it, sometimes it was making it so you couldn't even tap on the search bar, you couldn't see what you were typing. And it was just really not adding any value to the user experience. And it was clearly something that had been overlooked as an edge case when people were making other changes to the page. So we brought this to the PM and the designer who owned it, and we made the case for why we should kill it. It's not really adding any user value, and it's creating more operational costs by having to figure out how to deal with it when making changes. So they very quickly agreed and said, yeah, let's kill it. So they put it in the backlog. It's not dead yet, but it will be soon. So this is an example of how killing a feature, it's pretty small, can benefit both the user and the business. Is it going to revolutionize our business? No, it is not. But it's one small change and one small step toward a more simple experience and a more simple backend. Okay, so it can benefit the user, it can benefit the business, but why should UXRs be the one doing this? First of all, I think we're very well positioned to do this. We know our customers, we know their needs, we know their core tasks, and we understand their journeys. We can have good insight on which features are heavily used and which ones maybe aren't providing much value. But beyond that, I want to make the case that this is our job. One of the most important jobs we have as researchers is to help bring information and insights that help our stakeholders make better decisions. And one of the decisions that we absolutely need to be informing is when a feature has outlived its usefulness and we need to let it die. Okay, so even if you believe that it's part of your mandate and you understand that there can be benefits to the user and the business, how do you go about doing this? So let's get into the playbook of sorts that I've developed for killing features. The first thing you need to do is establish an evaluation criteria, something that's going to help you decide whether a feature is worth killing or not. And so here are the 5 things that I put together that help me decide whether a feature is worth killing. These are questions to ask or things to consider. So it's usage, segments, customer value or user value, performance, and cost. And let's talk about each one of these things. So when we talk about usage, you can ask some very simple questions. Number 1, how many users are actually using this? How often are they using it? For segments, who are the customers who are using it? And is that group strategically important to the business? When we think about value, is this providing user value? Does it support a core task? Does it provide value to the user in the right place in the journey? The 4th thing is about performance. So how does this feature impact the speed of the site? So you can think about this in terms of API calls. What are the API calls? How heavy are those calls? Does it slow down the experience? And if so, how much? The 5th thing is really about cost. And you can think very broadly about what costs mean. You can think about operational costs or maintenance costs. How often does it break? How often does it introduce a bug? You can also think about it in terms of cost to customer care. How often is customer care troubleshooting issues related to this feature with its customers? Obviously, you alone as a researcher cannot answer all these questions. So you're going to have to go out across your organization and get help gathering this data to make a case and to evaluate which features to cut. Okay, so you have this evaluation criteria. You need to apply it, but what features do you go after? How do you decide where to even start? And so I encourage you to start small. with what I'm calling organic kills. So as I've been talking, you've probably been thinking about features in your own experience that you really want to kill. So these might be things that are confusing, perpetually coming up in research as like not useful. Start with those. Those are the ones that probably have the most promise to be killed. So now I'm going to show you an example of an organic kill in my own work. So what I'm showing you here is called a product details page, a PDP for short. And a designer and I kind of teamed up. He was working on just kind of a design refresh of this page. And so the first thing that we did to help guide his refresh was dig into the analytics. And we learned that about 20 to 30% of a customer who made an order in a session ever looked at a single one of these pages. So it was very clear that this was not a critical part of the purchase journey for most customers. Second, for a customer who viewed a page on any one of these given pages, only 25% of them added the product to their cart. Beyond that, if you look kind of down in the middle, you'll see this if unavailable substitute with this item. So these were bringing in substitution options on the PDP. And less than 1% of customers were interacting with this element, even if they added this product to their cart. So that was great information to know, but we still didn't have a really important question answered, which is, okay, but why are people coming to this page in the first place? So I launched an intercept to ask our customers, why are you coming to this page? And the answer was pretty clear. They're coming for nutrition information and information about ingredients. That was great, and we thought, oh great, this will really help us guide the design refresh. Pretty quickly after we learned that, priorities changed and we had to shelve this refresh. But the designer and I said, okay, that's fine, but I think we can have a quick win in the meantime. And that was by eliminating this substitution element from the page. People weren't using it. It wasn't coming at the right time in the journey. People were interacting with substitutions in cart. And by it just existing on the page, it was an extra API call, might have slowed down, might break, but also it was distracting from what they were actually coming for, which was nutrition and ingredient information. So with this one, we were able to make the case pretty easily to the PM. We didn't have to get much leadership buy-in, and we were able to cut it from the experience. This is an example of a pretty smooth and easy kill, but it is not always that easy. It is often quite hard to get the buy-in you need to kill a feature. So I want to spend a good chunk of the rest of the time talking about how to get buy-in to kill features. So I'm calling this like step 0, or the most foundational part of getting buy-in, which is you got to find allies across the organization to support you. So you could kind of start these conversations when you're gathering this data and evaluating the features to kill. And these people can come from all over. So it can be engineers, it can be customer care, it can be PMs and designers, people who will advocate and help you persuade stakeholders to kill this feature. Second, and quite importantly, when you're trying to get buy-in, is to not trash the feature in the meantime. You cannot go in guns blazing and say this feature is a piece of garbage and whoever's idea it was in the first place is a total idiot. Finally, a big part of getting buy-in is to build and leverage your case. So going through that evaluation criteria, pulling in the usage data and the segmentation information and the cost to the business that you have by supporting it. And really make your case about improvements to the user experience and improvements to the business that you'll gain from killing this feature. And then finally, and probably the hardest part, is to create a plan for change management. So you need to think about how you're going to kill it. Are you going to A/B test it first and track key metrics? Or are you just going to go straight up and kill it? Are you going to talk to your customers and tell them you're killing this and why? Or are you just going to turn it off? And then finally, you need to think about managing expectations with your stakeholders. So no matter what feature you kill, one of your users will use it, and they might tell you about it, and they might be mad about it. So you need to make it clear to your stakeholders, that you're going to get negative reactions and what's an acceptable level for those negative reactions. And then you might need to think about a plan for rolling it back. I have personally had to do this, and it's not fun, but it happens. So knowing up front that might happen and having a plan for rolling back is an important part of change management. And then finally, when you're getting buy-in, you got to think about being prepared to not die on every hill. And by that, I simply mean killing features is hard, getting buy-in is hard. And knowing when you can say, all right, I've tried, I've made my case, and I didn't get the buy-in, and I'm going to give it up. You're going to want to push on some, and you're going to want to step back and give up and preserve your capital and preserve your influence. So really pick your battles and be prepared to not die on every hill. Once you've had some success, you've demonstrated yourself as a pretty savvy business strategist, you might want to go after some bigger targets. And I'm calling this going big game hunting. You might be able to target bigger products or kill bigger features. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is hard. Building the case is hard, getting the buy-in is hard, but it's worth it. And so I encourage you all to be brave and try things. I want to close with a few thoughts. First, we've been talking a lot about killing features for products that already exist, but I want to say again that it is easier and better to kill features before they're designed and built. So I encourage you all to be brave in those early discussions when a proposed feature is not solving a user problem or it's not solving it the right way. Save everyone a lot of time and effort by speaking up early and often in those early conversations. Second, I want to really reiterate again that this is hard work, but it is worth it. Do not be afraid to be bold and stick your neck out there, to have a point of view, to flex your business acumen and go for it. You're going to have to push, you're going to have to persuade, but beyond doing better for your users, it's going to make you a better researcher and a better professional. So I hope that everyone feels like they have a good understanding about the benefits to the user and the business from killing features, and you feel like you have a starting place to do this. I hope that you're feeling inspired to get this work started, and so with that, I will say thank you so much and happy hunting.